Good day to everyone who has joined us. And on behalf of the National Glass Association, thank you for joining us for today's special GPAD Preview webinar. It has been 3 years since the previous Glass Processing Automation Days event was held, and this year will be the first under NGA's production. We want to use this opportunity to get detailed on what to expect at this year's GPAD. There will be elements that are familiar to some, and meanwhile, we're introducing what is a new event to many in the industry. So who better to hear from than our featured guest today? Ron Crowell is Managing Director of Fenatech, a 2020 company, is our GPAD founding partner and 2022 Platinum event sponsor. Cindy Sim is Vice President of Marketing and Business Development at Diamond Fusion International and is a longtime GPAD supporter and also a 2022 Platinum event sponsor. And finally, Nicole Harris is President and CEO of the National Glass Association and will be leading this conversation today. Welcome, everyone. And Nicole, I'll let you take it from here.
Welcome, everyone. As Sarah pointed out, the last GPAD was held in 2019. This year's GPAD theme is future-proofing your factory. And so I'm going to start with Ron. How would you say the concept of future-proofing has changed since 2019?
Well, Nicole, I think this year's theme of future-proofing is very timely, as we've all been through a lot in these last few years. But, before we talk more about that, I'd like to back up to, what GPAD's all about, because there may be some here that aren't familiar with GPAD and what we've done over the last decade plus. The first GPAD event was held in 2011, and it came about after, Fenatech being in business for about 15 years at that point. We went to trade shows and supported the industry a lot through the trade shows. But what we found was that you could go to a trade show and see a nice piece of machinery or a nice piece of software, but there really wasn't any type of forum available by which you could talk about, automation of machinery and integration of software into that to make an efficient manufacturing facility. So that's why Fenatech started GPAD in 2011. And when we did that, we wanted to emulate what we had done for many years in our Fenatech user conferences, and that's gather people together in a fixed setting by which we could spend a couple of days together and have good detailed discussions about not only automation of machinery and not only just about software, but how they work together to provide a really good solution. So I think it was all about trying to create an environment by which people freely shared their success and failures, and so we could all learn from each other. So I know Cindy's been a part of GPAD for quite a few years. So Cindy, do you want to give us your perspective on that?
Yeah, thanks, Ron, and thank you, Nicole, as well. So really, for us, future-proofing has really been at the heart of GPAD. I mean, for years and years and years, and really the software and the automation was really the glue that put the whole program together. And I think by having the folks in the room, the fabricators, the suppliers, some glazers, really coming together and having intimate conversations, being together for 2.5 days, the ability to interact with customers and prospects and having peer-to-peer dialogue has really always been at the heart of GPAD. And we've been very fortunate to be able to join with Ron and the other sponsors over the years. And for us, GPAD has really been one of the most beneficial events all year long. We always look forward to it. We know that we're going to have an impact not only internally with our team, but externally with just the ability to speak one-on-one. So again, I think future-proofing is really a phenomenal theme, because that's really what's running through the whole idea of GPAD with the automation. But again, we look forward to having our industry together at this event.
Yes, and I think that, I'm sorry, Nicole. I just wanted to give my word on future-proofing, because I sort of jumped over that. But I think that over the last few years, as an industry and really as a world, we found that we have to do more with less, and that's not just people. It's the supply chain. It's running the business remotely so that we can stay safe as much as possible for our employees. So I think that this is when we talk about future proofing, we're talking about trying to continue to find ways to do more with less.
Mhm.
And I think it's nothing new, but I think it's more urgent now than it ever has been. So I think that, in the end, it's going to make the difference between, somebody that's extremely profitable in their business and somebody's just getting by.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's for sure. So given your 8 years, of experience helping glass fabricators, what would you say are the top 3 factors for manufacturing success? And Cindy, why don't you go first?
Okay, so thanks, Nicole. I would say, let me take a step back with that, because with what we do at DFI, we not only sell our machines, but we're really selling a service. And we have learned that with fabricators, for them to be successful, it's a true partnership. So even though we may be selling a machine, and even though we may be selling a coating, it is a partnership at all levels. It is a hand-holding partnership. And for them to be successful, we need to help them along the way. And so what we have really done here for ourselves is to put a whole program together. We assist them on every level. And I can see that if we assist them with the email campaigns, if we assist fabricators with retail ride-alongs going into the field with them, if we assist them with promotion within the glass industry and really get their name out there and really handhold them, we have then seen success and buy-in from the CEO down. And so one of the other points that I've really found to help fabricators be successful is really to have a point person within the industry. And we know that when a CEO has buy-in, you also need the buy-in from the team, from the sales reps, from the operations, really as a collaborative effort. So what we try to do is we try to put together a whole program to be a partner with these customers and with these fabricators. And when we do that, we're not just selling a machine and walking away. We are creating a win-win opportunity for both parties. And honestly, that's when we've seen the most success come from a service or a machine sale, etc.
Good point, Cindy. I think that, I look back now, and I've been in the industry almost 30 years now, and been hundreds of manufacturing and fabrication facilities around the world. And I think the thing that I see for companies that are actively future-proofing their businesses, the first thing I see is that they're organizations that put systems in place to ensure repeatable work practices. So they're eliminating that tribal knowledge that exists on the shop floor and put it into a system so that they can do the same thing over and over again. The other thing that I see people doing is they're creating a visibility in their business, whether it be the capacity they have on the manufacturing floor or capacity through the supply chain, that they put tools in place to allow promises to be kept to their customers. It's extremely important in today's world as lead times stretch. And then the third thing that I see is that these companies build quality into their products, and they make quality inspection part of the day-to-day business, so that they know they're delivering quality product on time, and it's not going to have to make a return trip to satisfy the client. So those three things are what I see, and I would say that when Fenatech sells a piece of software into the industry, I would say that 100% of our clients have these ideas in mind as they start the project. I can't say that 100% of them follow through to the end of the project, but it's certainly the progressive thinking companies are certainly following those three steps on a daily basis.
Nicole, can I add to that? Because I think Ron brought up a good point. I think everybody has good intentions from the start. We all go into projects. We all go into, bringing on new machines, bringing on new services, new product offerings with the best intentions. And then life gets in the way, COVID happens, or, certain situations happen, and it's easy to let something go. And I think that's where we've been successful, in the sense of, okay, I know at a certain point I need to get on an airplane and go out and help the customer. I know that us as a team can come together to go out and really handhold and get back on the plan, or the plan of attack, really to help the customer. So one of the ways also, I think GPAD, to really bring GPAD back into it, has been a success is you have a meeting of the minds. You have a meeting of the minds that everybody wants to be successful. How do we do it? We all need each other. You need the glazers, you need the fabricators, you need the suppliers. And when you have all of them in a room with forward thinking and strategic planning and growth opportunities, it really is a time to, essentially refocus and regroup. And I think that's what happens oftentimes where, things happen in life. And so this is a great opportunity to refocus and, revisit your strategic plans for 2022, excuse me.
Leading to 2023.
Yes, thank you.
Nicole, I wish we could hear you.
I'm going to try a different way. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. So in between GPADs, what would you say would be your recommendations for maintaining that discipline in those ways? What have you seen from those very successful companies? How do you think that could work?
Well, I guess I'll take a first stab at it. I think every company, regardless of size, how big or small they are, they take on the personality of the person at the top of the organization. And, if the person at the top of the organization demands attention to detail, demands marching towards perfection, because nobody's ever going to be perfect, but as long as they're marching towards perfection, the organization takes on those characteristics. So, what I've seen is that the most successful companies not only have a leader at the top of the organization that's pushing and striving for the company to get better every day, but when they implement either a new piece of machinery on the floor or a software project in the business, they assign a champion to really lead the charge in that area. And, I think that as long as they have a champion as somebody really, forcing the mentality and ideas that the leader has set down through the rest of the organization, those are the people that I find to be most successful. Cindy, what do you think?
Yeah.
And I would really agree with that, Ron. I would also say where we've seen the success is really the relationships that are built. Once you build a solid relationship, and there's also FaceTime. I know it was difficult during COVID, but if you're able to go out and see your customers, build the solid relationship, and be able to have, honest, transparent conversations, I think that's incredibly helpful. We've also seen a lot of, I'll speak regarding our customers, if they give some type of incentive or some type of, commission or something to, promote the coding within their customer base. We've always seen when you have not only an advocate from, as Ron mentioned, from within the organization to the CEO's buy-in to some type of individual incentive, you see much more of a collaboration and a path for success. And then I know the face-to-face and the picking up the phone is really one of the best tools when you're not able to get on an airplane. Picking up the phone and having just that conversation with some of the sales reps, knowing that you're there for them, has really, in my opinion, has really been able to help the cause within the organization.
Are you hearing similar thoughts from your customers on these points?
Ron? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most successful clients we have are the ones that, not only have good leadership at the top, but they have people throughout the organization who take responsibility for the areas of the business they're working in. And, I think that's what makes business successful. It's not necessarily having the latest whiz bang of a product, but it's about, understanding the customer's needs and delivering promises on time.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, and Ron, we can just pick up from there. How have you both future-proofed your companies following the pandemic, especially?
Yeah, I think the last time, the pandemic started in March of 2020, and I think we were all gathered in Nashville for the BEC conference. And, we started catching wind at that time, at least I did, that there was an outbreak happening on the West Coast. And what I did at the moment in time was I sent all of our employees home right away to do a 2-day test run to see if, as a software company, we could all work from our kitchen tables. And we discovered some connectivity issues that we resolved pretty quickly, which was very timely because by the time that I had returned back home to Cleveland, Ohio from Nashville, the country had basically shut down. And so we didn't miss a beat. And as a software company, we're all pretty technically savvy, and we were able to do that. But it was a mind shift over time because, I'm pretty old school and I wanted everybody to be in the office and, working face to face in conference rooms. And, what we've learned over these 2 years is that we can very effectively work remote and meet customers' needs and demands and timelines by continuing to work as a team through tool sets like we're looking at today with Zoom or Teams or any of these online systems that we have in place. Since COVID, we as a company we still value the in-person time, and we're going to operate on a hybrid work schedule that gives both the employees some flexibility to their schedules, as well as meeting the customers' needs of servicing them, and frankly Fenatech's needs of maintaining the culture that we have by seeing each other face to face on a periodic basis.
In regards to what we did here, I think, very similar to Ron in the sense of we actually did two things right away. We took an inventory of our internal team, and then we also did an inventory of our customers at that time. And I think, in the middle of March, we were looking internally, how do we have our staff work from home? We still had to have some in the office, which was, a critical point at that time because of shipping internationally and manufacturing. However, one of the things that really struck was our VP of operations asked us to really focus on the customers, what they were going through. We picked up the phone, all the account managers picked up the phone to call our customers. How can we help them? What do they need? Let's just talk. I mean, I think at that point, we really didn't know much. We were, I think, as a industry, we were very concerned. We were scared in our personal lives. We really had no idea. So we wanted to do our best to let the customers know we are here for you. We are taking all the precautions, not only for our staff, but for all our product. We are looking at supply chain issues. And I think what we did was incredibly beneficial also in the aspect of not only reaching out to our customers, but upping our marketing. And that was critical because I and my colleagues were out on the road 2 to 3 weeks a month visiting customers, and all of a sudden it stopped. And so at that point, how do you connect? How do you connect with customers? How do you connect with your prospects? How do you connect with your peers? And so we started doing more videos. We started really upping our email campaigns, being much more personal and really asking, how are you doing today? But I think the bottom line for us, what kept us going as an organization was the ability to be transparent, to let our team work from home if they wanted, to let them come in if they wanted, to have COVID precautions, and also just really be there for our customers. And that's what has really led us to the point we're in right now is again, I mention all the time, the hand holding. We really work hard to ensure that our customers have what they need and at a critical time. And we're still in a critical time. Now it's labor shortages and supply chain issues. So it's always good to have that open dialogue and to, be able to pick up the phone.
Excellent. Yeah. So why is GPAD co-locating with the Building Envelope Contractors Conference, BEC? And okay, that's the question for me, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. There are several reasons for co-locating. You just mentioned supply chain, history, location, and certainly logistics. And logistics also speaks to what we've just been through over the last few years. But basically, co-locating GPAD and BEC brings together glass fabricators and our glazing contractor audiences. These are two key parts of the glass and glazing industry that NGA represents, of the supply chain, and that we serve. And so that was one reason. It just seemed to make sense to bring them together, especially as people are always, a little bit more concerned about travel these days, tying it together. And really, given GPAD's very successful history in cities like San Antonio, Nashville felt like a really fun, easy place to get to and have that same vibe that certainly GPAD's pretty famous for. And BEC, as Ron mentioned earlier, was in Nashville in 2020. It was the last event we had we held before the pandemic hit, and it was a huge success. So we thought, okay, this kind of makes sense for that reason. And then finally, as a nonprofit trade association, the NGA is always looking to leverage locations and logistics, and being more efficient, certainly with our member dues and how we spend it. So co-location with BEC in Nashville for this first event under NGA just felt like it was going to be right. And I think our advanced registration numbers are tracking very, very well right now. So I'm happy about that. So I think so far it looks like we've made the right choices. So just a little bit of explanation, because I certainly have had that question. I think the two of you may have had it too. So next related question is, what is a bridge? It's kind of a trick question. So Cindy, if you want to take that one.
Thank you. So, when I saw the bridge day between BEC and GPAD, I actually really like the idea. It is, as I mentioned earlier, it is an opportunity for I call it, let's say, the three pillars, or the three, groups within the glass industry: the glazers, the fabricators, and the suppliers. I mean, even though we have the opportunity often at, let's say, Glass Build or Glass Tech or the regional trade shows, there's not the opportunity for the intimate one-on-one conversation. So when you bring these groups together, when you not only have decision makers in the room, but you have the folks doing the work on the factory floor, the folks installing the glass, and the people supplying all the materials, when you have them all together, amazing conversations are had. So the reason why I always recommend GPAD is just for the intimacy of the event. And then I love the idea of bridge, because you really have never had these two groups together in a close environment. So I thought it was a brilliant idea, and I'm really proud to be part of it.
Thanks, Cindy. Ron, any thoughts?
Wow, yeah, it's a trick question, all right. But I look at in this context that the bridge that we have here is a bridge that's going to take us from somewhere we're very comfortable in to somewhere new. And I think that as a supplier to the industry, I certainly don't know enough about the glazing component of what this is all about, right? And so for me, it's getting me out of the little world that I live in the software world, and try to learn something new. And I think the more I understand the industry from A to Z, the better prepared I am to offer solutions to our fabricating customers. So, and I think that's how you move forward in life. Stretch your knowledge, learn something new, and take yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. I think we've got a few minutes left, so I've got one more question. Our bridge keynote speaker is Brian Ahern, and he's going to teach us how to influence people. And you've both been very successful in business. So in a few words, what's your approach? Ron, you go first. How do you influence, persuade people?
Nicole, I don't know if I've ever had a mindset of I'm going to go influence somebody. My mindset has always been, I want to go in and be a problem solver and understand, put myself in somebody's shoes, understand their problems, understand their concerns, and then, be collaborative in a way that we can provide solutions. So, that's what GPAD was all started from. It was about the idea of let's bring people together and let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about how we can help each other. And so for me, I guess I'm looking forward to Brian's conversation, because maybe I can learn how to influence people.
Well, Ron, you said it so well. I'm not sure I can make that any better, Ron. I think, one of the things I really enjoy is the people. The people of the glass industry are quite amazing. And to be able to partner with some of these companies and really make it a partnership, a true concerted partnership, have a strategic plan, and be able to offer our support and influence. I like that word, because anything I can do to, help our customers or the prospects or the industry, quite frankly, is exciting. And, I really do enjoy what I do. And I think that, that comes across with so many people in the industry. So again, I think Ron said it very well. I also look forward to the conversation, and maybe I can learn on, how to influence more in other areas. So looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, we do have one question here, so I'll just lob it out there. Many of us are now working in a fiercely competitive environment on top of all the other challenges we face today. Connection and networking are valuable. Appreciate the opportunity for those closer conversations. Can you provide some indicative examples of how bringing us together brings value? Can we connect dots between value chain players? Either one of you want to take that? How do we connect the dots?
If I'll just quickly jump on that, I think one of the things that I've learned is the peer-to-peer conversations. I have found that when I can sit there in a room and just listen to a fabricator speaking with a fabricator and hearing their challenges and how they've overcome, or any individual within the industry, having the one-on-one conversations, I have learned that I can try to sell my heart out. They don't necessarily want to hear from me. They want to hear from their colleagues. They want to hear the real life scenarios of what is going on in the glass industry. So when you put those pieces together and you have the opportunity to sit there, not only with your competition, because there's always going to be competition, but you can learn from each other. You can learn from the competition. You can learn from your colleagues. And it is eye-opening, quite frankly, when you have the ability to ask honest questions, because you're together for this 2.5 solid days, and you're all there really for the same reason. You're all trying to better yourselves. You're all trying to come together to learn and to be open-minded. So when you have those one-on-one conversations with the folks that are often doing the same thing as you, or having the same challenges, it's really a great opportunity. So I encourage everyone to really go outside of themselves. I encourage you to sit at different tables. I encourage you to walk into the room and go stand in a circle of people that you would not have done before, because you're always going to learn something when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, as Ron had said. So really, you have to make the most of it, and you have to really have the opportunity to be open and to learn.
Yeah, well put.
Yeah, to add a little bit more, I think that when GPAD was founded, we had the really, really strong goal of making it with a similar spirit as the FenTech user conferences. And at the user conferences over the years, just like GPAD, there's a lot of good education during the day, but the best stuff happens in the evening, the informal conversations. And as an example, for Stanley's question, a concrete example, during the day in GPAD, a couple of sessions ago, I'm not sure what year it was, but this happens at every session of GPAD. But there was presentations based on new cutting table technologies. There was another session based on new storage system technology, and then a system presentation based on quality inspection systems. Well, from a fabricator standpoint, each of those things collectively raises the interest level. But to be able to get together at night over beer, to talk to these 3 vendors with the fabricator and understand how a systematic approach can be applied to tie these pieces together to make this business more efficient, that cuts months and months out of the timeline of making decisions on how to proceed in your business, because that would be, just trying to schedule the time for everybody to get together and have the level of conversation that you just heard earlier in the day, and tying it, tying it together so it makes sense. Invaluable. And that's what GPAD's all about. It's really about, being exposed to new ideas, new machinery, new automation techniques. And then the final piece of the puzzle is, how do you integrate that? And I guess that's why FenTech created the event. And We're happy to have turned it over to NGA so they can grow it, because I do think it's a valuable education piece that was missing in the industry. And just happy that Fenatech can continue to be a part of it.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. I think on that note, I think we're up our time limit, and we hope we persuaded you to come to GPAD and join this conversation. And certainly Ron and Cindy and all of our sponsors can answer any questions. The agenda, the schedule is online at glass.org. You'll start seeing even more materials from us about it. So thank you all for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you in Nashville in March.